Welcome to this week's episode of Sports Caviar, everyone. I'm your host, Javi. I'm joined with my sidekicks, my favorite people on earth. We'll start with Bijan. What's up, man?
What's going on, Hav? Great to be here. It's a great time of year. Halloween's come and gone, and we're ready for the month of thanks. We're thankful you're here with us tonight on Sports Caviar. Birn.
Gentlemen, Bijan, welcome back. Glad to see you're feeling better. So that's always good to have you back. Yeah, man, I'm excited. Let's get to this and give our connoisseurs what they want.
That's right. Neti Pot does wonders. Woo, gets right to the sinuses, clears it out. Highly recommend.
I might need to get that because I think somehow I got your cold, even though you live in North Carolina and I live in Florida. So a little hoarse, but that's okay. No sick days, baby.
No.
We keep it
we
going
don't
over.
We take sick days at the podcast, baby.
You got a nice timbre to the voice tonight, actually, Hav. I think it's helpful for you.
I should be sick more often. There's lots of topics that I want to discuss with everyone this week, but nothing more than my favorite topic of all time, because now we finally have actual people putting together some rankings in the college football playoff. And I would say that it wasn't surprising who was number one, but then after that, it flows into some categories that I would like to discuss today. So we have Ohio State number one. The committee decided to put them there based on their strength of record, I'm assuming. And then you have UGA, Michigan, Florida State, Washington. Those are the undefeated teams. And then the number 6 team, the highest one-loss team in college football right now in the playoff committee's minds is the Quack Ducks. Birn, first things first, I would like for you to give your top 6. Say if you can discuss if you agree with the committee, the way they did it.
I'm not faulting how they started this rankings off. Like you said, they pretty much started this on strength of record or strength of schedule. How's your resume? Fine with Ohio State being number one. They're not my choice. I do the old eye test, but they have quality wins. They have Penn State. They have Notre Dame on the roads. That's a big win. Georgia at number 2. I think they're interchangeable. Michigan at 3. Disappointed on that one. But Florida State being 4, I think if you're gonna give Ohio State the 1 based off quality wins, then how is Florida State not number 2? It seems as though they said, okay, here's Ohio State based off this, and we're going to put Georgia because of this, Michigan because of this, Florida State. I think if you're talking about quality wins, Ohio State and Florida State have them. Their resume's there, and they've played well all year and dominated. So I would have put them number 1 and 2 if based off the committees. But for me, I would say I have 1, and it's not a homer pick, but I'd put Michigan at 1.
Okay.
I'd put Florida State at 2, Ohio State 3, Georgia 4, Washington 5, Alabama at 6.
Okay.
And Oregon. Yes, right there. Oregon, Texas 7, 8. That would be my top 6 if I were going to choose. I think if you look at how each team has actually performed and how do they look, and I think Michigan's been the most dominant team all season. Yes, they haven't played a top 25 team yet, but they have played Power 5 teams, and they have absolutely dominated each and every game in all 3 phases. And again, their defense is averaging or allowing 5.5 points a game. Their offense scores at will. And so to me, it's an easy number 1 for them. Florida State, number 2. I feel like the LSU win should hold clout. And they've also beat Duke. And even with Clemson in a down year, I feel that was a big win on the road in Death Valley. And then Ohio State with some big wins, but I don't think Penn State's as good as advertised. No. And then throw in Georgia. That's how I would put them. But it's nice to see Michigan, Florida State number 2. That's how I would put them.
Yeah.
John, you disagree a little bit?
Yeah, I'm sure Bijan. Yeah, Bijan probably got some points there. But before Bijan goes real quick, Birn, the one thing that I would say about your rankings is that it seemed like you were down on Alabama all season. And then somehow now, I guess, what win did it for you?
Ole Miss. I think they've found a way to win. I think they've figured out what they have. Their quarterback situation was a little bit of a disaster at the beginning, but they have adapted to his strengths, and I feel like they're really coming into their own. Defense is starting to play like the old Alabama defenses, and I think their schedule is gonna to show how that they're actually a pretty good team. I think Texas caught them at the perfect time, and yeah, I think Alabama's the better overall team, and
For the one loss.
yeah, for on the one loss side, yeah. And
What about you, Bijan? What do you got?
How excited were you last night, Huff? Did you even go out trick-or-treating? You've been waiting for these rankings to come out for 3 months. You can't wait. It'd be like Christmas for you last night. Forget about Halloween. It was Huff's Christmas. Finally, the bowl rankings are
Yeah,
here. So I'm
I was excited.
I'm most happiest for you because we're here. We can talk even more about it. But
Yeah.
I think the committee did a pretty good job. I agree. So you both obviously big Seminole fans. I would love where you're at right now because when I look at maneuvering through the playoffs, one plays the 4, I believe. I think for you guys, the best matchup for you is Ohio State if you want to move through. That being said, I wouldn't want to play Georgia if I were you. I'd want to play Ohio State. I think you can beat them in a shootout, although their defense is pretty good. So I think the committee was close here. You could splice hairs. After seeing Georgia and without Bowers, I think Georgia is the number 2 team in the country with him out. Michigan with the, I don't know, sending whatever we're doing in the stands with phones and signs. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know why they need to do that or if they're doing it, but I think 3 for them is fine. And I think Florida State maybe underranked at 4, but if I'm you, I like being the 4 seed because I think you want to play Ohio State, being strategic as a fan. Washington and Oregon, I think they're fine there. I think Oregon, after that win over Utah, is a little bit more impressive to me than Alabama right now. That was a resounding win, which I believe Birn and I picked last week. Ducks quacked all over the Utes, 35-6 or 38-6. Thanks for coming out. In Utah, game day, I hope you had a good time because you won't go back there again anytime soon. I like the rankings in the top 6. I think they got it right. I'm really loving it right now as a Florida State fan because you get a good matchup in that first round.
Yeah, I like your take on that, Bijan. I think that as you guys know, the whole reason why I was excited for the CFP rankings is because the AP didn't make sense to me, right? I was like clamoring for somebody to come out and a committee to come in and be like, okay, let's put some sense to this thing here. And then so I was actually, it's funny that you mentioned last night because we were getting ready to start trick or treating. I was hanging with one of my buddies. We were talking about the rankings, what we were going to predict. And I was like, okay, I think that if they're eliminating last year, the rankings to me should be Ohio State, Florida State, Washington, and then Georgia. Okay. Now, and then I would say Michigan would be 5th. Okay. Based on who people have played this season so far. That's how I feel like if they're going to be looking at that, then that's how they should do it. Now, I get that there's an eye test and they like to throw that in there. And then they use the eye test as
Subjectivity.
justification to, yeah. They say we're going to rank Michigan ahead of Florida State right now. They really passed the eye test, even though we know that they haven't played anybody. And I'm like, okay. So if you think that Ohio State passes the eye test, they do not. They haven't passed the eye test at all. That I actually only think that Ohio State is number 1, right? Should be number 1 right now, based off of the fact that they've had the hardest schedule so far. They have not looked good doing it though. They should have lost to Notre Dame, and Penn State. They beat them. I guess you could say they dominated them to a certain
I
extent.
would say dominated
trash.
that game. I don't know if Penn State's trash. They dominated that game, Ohio State did.
They did, but they ended up they were up by 2 touchdowns.
They didn't need to be
Was
up
it?
by any more than that. Running out, Penn State could do nothing. They were
Their
enough.
defense dominated.
Yeah.
Yeah, their defense dominated that game.
But
I agree
why Michigan 5?
because of strength of record. I think that the reason why Ohio State is number 1 only is because of strength of record. That's the only reason why the committee put them there, right? So if that is so important that you're going to rank them number 1 in the entire nation, then that needs to hold serve for the top 5 undefeated teams. You can't say that it matters for Ohio State and then for Florida State, oh, we're going to have to come up with some other equation for them. And then for Georgia, we'll say eye test, and Michigan will say eye test. Florida State, even though they have the 2nd strength of record, we're not going to rank them number 2 because we're not going to follow those rules for them. And same thing for Washington's looked bad the last 2 weeks, even though they beat Oregon. Oh, by the way, speaking of Oregon, we love Oregon. They're the number 1, they're the highest ranked one-loss team in the committee's eyes. So the committee loves Oregon, but they won't give Washington that extra bump to get them in the top 4 based on beating Oregon. So there's some inconsistencies on the way that they came up with this top 6 to me.
Oh,
Completely.
I agree with you on that. I guess my question is, the committee's job is to put the 4 best teams in that top 4. But I'm with you. Lots of inconsistencies.
Yeah.
I don't 100% agree with how they chose each one, and because they obviously chose Ohio State for one reason, Florida State at 4 for one reason, Michigan at 3 for another. Be consistent would be nice, but I think the top 4 teams they got, like the best 4 teams in college football right now are those top 4.
I would agree. Yeah. You can nitpick the order, but those are the top 4 football programs in the country. Washington's not better than Florida State. Penix, Penix or not, that's not happening.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that so what strength of record is, it's actually a little bit different than strength of schedule, by the way. It takes another level forward on it. Basically, what it does is it combines how good of a schedule that team has played, and then they also mix in the results in those games, right? So because you have a strong strength of schedule doesn't mean that you're a good team. It just means you played a hard schedule. And if you play an atrocious schedule and you wax those teams, that doesn't mean you're a good team either. So I think strength of record, I like it because it combines the two, right? The rankings should be, if they use strength of record, Ohio State, Florida State, Washington, and then Georgia. And then Alabama was up there with strength of record too, by the way. But I get that it's the first rankings. My question to you guys, Washington's number 5 right now. They play USC this week, and the committee ranked USC 20th in the nation. I don't know about that one, but they're ranked. So if Washington wins that game, top 4?
Maybe for a week, if that's the committee loves USC, regardless of what they do or how inept they are. They're 50-49. They had a miraculous win over Cal, 50-49.
Yeah.
They give up 39 to Cal. This is not Cal, not a great offensive team. Deshaun Jackson's no longer there. Not a great team. So Washington, it's hard to go undefeated. It is in the Coliseum. I know we're going to talk about that game later, but in my mind, maybe for a week, the committee loves USC so much, Washington wins that, it would not surprise me.
Yeah, I'm with you, but John, I think, they probably get in for a week or they stay right there at 5. But we can talk about these, like all these teams have some, at least quite a few have some big games coming up that are going to sort through this. It really, Florida State and Michigan Florida State probably has the easiest out of the 4 left. So Washington's got, what do they got? USC, Utah, Oregon State, the Oregon State Cougars. Right, John, is that the correct?
The Boogers.
We've got a gauntlet of games coming. Michigan still has Penn State, and Ohio State still has Michigan. Florida State has Miami and UF.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
which I do think Miami should be ranked, by the way.
Oh,
But that's a whole nother story. If you actually look at their strength of record and everything, they actually do have a pretty good resume to be ranked. But I think that they're holding that Georgia Tech game against them.
And the UNC game. And UNC with a lot 2 in a row, they lost to Virginia. So how good is that? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Louisville is the only chance for Florida State to have any type of additional boost at the end there. So I'm interested to see that. What I'm upset about Florida State being number 4 is the fact that I do think that if Washington wins this weekend, they might leapfrog Florida State. So I think FSU might actually drop to 5th. And if I had hair, it'd be ripped out of my scalp after that. Okay.
I don't see Washington winning out. I think Georgia could slip up, and obviously Michigan or Ohio State are going to be out. I think if Michigan beats Ohio State, is probably that one team on the one loss that could creep back in at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Florida State should have been higher, but I think Florida State wins out. There's no way they're not in.
Yeah. I don't like the fact even for a week, if we slip to 5, oh god, that just piss me off right there. Let's move along. Now you guys know who sings that song. The World
Mhm.
Series has been a doozer. Who's winning back there? Is it still 0-0,
I
Bijan?
think it's still 0-0 back here. Hard to read in reverse, but I think still
Yeah.
0-0 in the desert.
Okay, yeah, we
0
had
top of the
Yeah.
I believe.
okay. Okay, so that series, the World Series is actually still technically happening right now, so we'll see if that actually ends here tonight. But game 1, there was Corey Seager,
Ooh, ooh,
huge home run in the bottom of the ninth to send the game into extras, and then,
what a game.
Adolis
Mm,
Garcia with a walk-off. I'm sure the fans were absolutely loving their lives that night,
what a game.
and then yeah, that was a really good game, exciting game for both of the franchises.
Great start.
Arizona, game 2, Merrill Kelly was lights
Mm.
out, 7 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts, and Jamont rode a little bit of the struggle bus that night a little bit. He might have wanted to pitch around Tommy Pham that night, he went 4 for
Yeah.
4. Did you have Tommy Pham in your fantasy, Brian?
I wish I did.
Bijan?
Of course I didn't, because I finished 7th or 6th in my league. So if it's a good player, he probably wasn't on my team. Like,
Yeah. And then game 3, it started to take a little bit of an interesting turn here because Max Scherzer goes down with an injury. They bring in Dorian Gray to finish off the Arizona Diamondbacks in that game, and then they also lost Adolis Garcia in game 3, but they still won.
They're undefeated
Moving
on the
yeah.
road in postseason. That's
10 and
Yeah,
0.
they
Hey,
continued
incredible. 10 and 0.
yeah.
yeah.
How is this happening?
Texas, not a, I mean, huge in the World Series it is, but during the season, not a huge home field advantage. So they're used to playing with I think their offense, they can hit anywhere. And now that Simeon and Seager are hitting, amazing what they've done without Garcia since game 3. Halloween night,
Yeah.
11-7, 7-11, 11-7. A great ball game. This has been a really fun series to watch, a different series.
Yeah, it's been if you think about it, we're like, "Oh my gosh, this is the matchup for the World Series."
Yeah.
It's been every bit of exciting. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been a lot of
And
fun.
Arizona's a scrappy team, and they've got some young boys.
Yeah, they don't know what they don't
Yeah,
know.
they have to beat the young season. They could be they're here to stay.
Yeah. Corey Seager, let's talk about him. So 77 postseason games in his career. So about a half a regular season, right? So 162 in the regular. He's played about half a regular season in his career in the postseason. 19 home runs, 19 home runs, 48 ribeyes,
Mhm.
54 runs scored. So if that was a whole season, he'd have almost 40 jacks, 100 ribbies, and over 100 runs scored. If you were project that out for a whole season of playoff baseball, it's incredible. 6 World Series home runs. He's 8th all time. And,
Man.
incredible. Mantle leads that, by the way, with 18. Don't think he'll be catching the mick, but pretty impressive with 6 World Series home runs.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers are missing him a little bit, huh?
Man. Every time I see him. Why?
You can't overpay for everybody, right? Your payroll would be at 900 million right now if you had Seager.
Yeah. Oh, man. The man from Concord, North Carolina. Man, what a stud.
So with Arizona, their highest paid player to begin the season was Madison Bumgarner, and they actually waived him earlier on in the season. So they're like 27th in MLB in payroll right now. If you take away Bumgarner on the actual field, who they're
Yeah.
fielding out there, there's nobody's getting paid anything.
I said they will after this. Time to cash it in. Bring up the Brinks truck. Now, a lot of these guys are young and they won't get paid for another 2 or 3 years, but any free agent's certainly going to back up the Brinks truck after this one. But great story.
Yeah, I think that it is a great story that they make it to the World Series, of course, but it can't be considered a failure from that standpoint. But you can't help but think to yourself, if you're a Diamondbacks fan, if we would have spent a little bit more money, maybe we could have even won the World. So not that you have to overpay to get everybody, but I think it's good to have like at least 2 guys that you're going to go out and get.
They did at the trade deadline. And when they went out and got Tommy Pham, that was a 11th hour deal that got him that. They got Seawald, who's been phenomenal. So they didn't necessarily go and get big money names. So they got names that helped them, some veteran presence to help with this young talent. So tremendous job. by their GM, and cutting Mad Bum earlier than later was probably a really wise move too. That probably saved him 5 or 7 losses the way he was
Yeah.
throwing BP.
Oh, he was terrible.
Great competitor time for the end.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens in game 5 here tonight if Texas can continue. They have to, this streak has to end at some point. I think Arizona should win this game. We'll have to see. But I was actually curious because everybody keeps on talking about Taylor Swift's like at nauseum. I don't know if you get trick or treating. It was like Kelsey and Taylor Swift, right? So it really made me wonder. I was like, Bernie's a single guy. I wonder if he thinks about Taylor Swift in a different way. So my question to Birn is, if you had the opportunity, would you rather date Taylor Swift or Brittany Mahomes?
Those are the two that you give me? Oh, man. I gonna I feel like I'm gonna have to be a Swiftie.
There you go.
Okay.
I can't deal with Britney's personality and her outburst, her outbursts of randomness.
Okay.
I think she's independent.
Mhm.
She can give me my space, let me do my thing for every if I wanna go hang out with the boys, play some golf.
Yeah.
I think she'd be okay with that.
I don't know. She doesn't really seem like she'd be that type. But who do you think is
And
prettier though?
Yeah, and she's taller. We could probably have some average sized children. Be cool.
Yeah. That is
Say
true.
there you go.
It'd be interesting to see what they actually talk about when those two girls are hanging out.
Bernie, clearly.
There was
have
some
their little-
NBA
Clearly
action.
Bernie is what they're
Yeah,
talking
obviously.
about.
Birn. Yeah. They're talking about sports caviar.
They're coming up with a new celebration dance or handshake.
So there was obviously the NBA has begun for some reason. I feel like October's too early for the
Mhm.
NBA to start. I don't even know if the players care about these games that are happening right now. I assume that they do, but case in point, like the Lakers played Phoenix, I think it was the second game of the season, and Bradley Beal and Devin Booker sat the game. I was like, they're playing the Lakers.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be this exciting, intriguing NBA to start the season matchup, and they're like, Booker and Beal, take a seat. You know?
Yeah. It's too early for me.
Do you guys think that's a problem? Do you think that they should have played Beal and
I
Booker?
think they're hurt though. I think Booker tweaked an ankle. Bradley Beal, I don't know what's left there. His back's bothering. That's just.
You don't like Bradley
I like
Beal?
Bradley Beal. He's a Gator. I don't know that we're on an upswing here from a career side. He can score with anybody, but don't glory. That it's not going to be a great defensive team. And you saw that last night against the Spurs, blowing a 20-point lead late. So they can score with anybody, and Bradley Beal can score with anybody. But when you need a stop in the playoffs or when a game actually matters and all the players are playing, not a great defensive ball club.
Yeah, Birn. So there's a couple things here that I wanted to throw out there. So obviously, one of the teams that everybody's going to be keeping their eyes on is the Bucks. Dame Lillard, he dropped 39 in his debut, but then he followed that up against Atlanta with 6 points
Stinker.
or something. He's averaging 24 so far. He's shooting 39% from the field. He's starting off a little cold. What do you think about that?
I'm gonna use an old saying by Aaron Rodgers. RELAX. Relax. We're 4 games in. He's still getting acclimated. He's still getting acclimated to the teammates and
Milwaukee weather.
Oh,
Yeah, a little bit of that in the schemes that they're running. So I feel like it's early. They're gonna he's getting his feet wet. He'll be fine. Him and Giannis are gonna be a monster at the end of the season, and that's when they need them. They're obviously playoff bound, barring some crazy injury streak. But yeah, I'm not too concerned because we saw what he can do, and I think that'll continue, and they'll get into a rhythm, and they'll be fine. And we could probably say that on a few of these teams. The only thing I don't like, which is the new standard of the NBA, is that whole healthy scratches to get rest. It's sitting players to sit, and I don't know. I think that's horrible. These fans buy in advance, and you go and try, and you want to see Beal, you want to see Booker, and I know that, there were some injuries, but it happens a lot, and it happens too much.
Second game of the season, they're injured. They had 8 months off or whatever. You're fine. Go play.
You play 8 That's the schedule.
Yeah.
They're getting paid $50 million a year. Go play, go
Yeah.
shoot, and it's fine. What is this crap? Now, one thing that I'll say, yes, we're only 4 games into the season, but Memphis is 0-4 without John Morant. And I know that there's plenty of time for them to come back to reality and see what they can do, but that's one of the you don't want to start out 0-4
No.
here. Come on, that's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Even early on, you don't want that. That's 5% of your season right there. Gone. You only get 20 of those 4-game clips, 82 game season. I think they lost Brooks
How long is
82 games.
how long is he out?
I'm not sure. They need to get him back, but they
Morant.
also lost Brooks this year to Houston. I think he was a big piece of who they are.
Yeah.
I love that guy. Gritty, great competitor. So I think not only they're missing Ja, but they're missing him. They got to figure it out.
Didn't they get Marcus Smart?
I like him too.
Did they get
I-
Marcus Smart?
Yeah, he went to Memphis.
Yeah. Replace Brooks with Smart. That's the same thing, don't you think?
You get the same type of player. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So it's more like they're every time they lose, they probably go straight to their phones and text Ja Morant like, "You piece of freaking crap. We hate you. Get it together." Last thing about basketball, Wembanyama, I think it's exciting to turn the TV on at 11 o'clock at night because there's really not anything on, but then there's like a West Coast game on, and you're like, "Oh, Wembanyama's playing," right? And then my boy from Florida State, Vassell, is playing there too, so it's a little bit of an excitement. But he's cool to watch because he's so freaking tall. He's got all the potential in the world, but he's only averaging 15 points so far. We'll have to see. They lost by 40 to the Clippers the other night, so there's that.
Yeah, that was rough.
How does that even happen? How do you lose by 40 in the
That's a
NBA?
lot. That's a lot. I think we could put together a team that will lose by 60 only, but 40 that's rough.
Yeah. Also, did you guys know that Marcus Jordan is engaged to Scottie Pippen's ex-wife?
What does that Thanksgiving dinner look like? That's awkward. Oh my. Holidays are coming up. That's going to be awkward.
Michael Jordan's son is engaged to his number
former-
2 guy,
Yeah.
ex-wife.
Yeah. All kinds of bizarre.
Gosh. I imagine they're not as close as they used to be.
Oh,
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Also, in the NFL world, did you guys? I know that this game really didn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but so the Bucks looked terrible on last Thursday night against the Bills. The Bills were basically not even running offensive plays in the second half. They were like, "We don't need to even try to score because you guys aren't going to score." But did you see the last play with the Hail Mary to Godwin?
Look up. You're on a football field. You're a receiver. You got the first part of your job should be to look for the football. Where do you think it's coming from? It's the sky. It's got to come from the sky. It's going to crawl there, roll there. You can't roll it out there. Look up.
But then when it comes to a Hail Mary, there's specific roles for everybody on that field when they get down there, and they were probably playing some sort of he was expecting a tip. He's the catch man.
Yeah.
Yes. It looks bad because he probably could have caught that if he just was turned around.
It was right there.
But I think he was probably doing what he was told to do, and that's how it was drawn up. That's again, we're not in that huddle, but I think that he was facing the other receivers he was expecting a tip drill to push back from the DBs and the wide receivers.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
So
A Hail Mary is a lucky play regardless, right? If you actually come down with it, it's going to be pure luck if you actually catch it. But in that particular situation, nobody was expecting the ball to land at that point in time, not even the defense,
nobody.
right? So, when you look at it and then you look at it, Godwin's right there. I'm like, we actually could have freaking won that
What
game
a steal that would have been. Oh, my. Oh, monumental.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. Got to move on our
That's
losing
it. Looking
streak
up at the
here,
first
so.
place Falcons.
Yeah, which, by the way, they did a quarterback
I like
change.
that move. Heineken. This is give Kyle Pitts the football, please, for all of my fantasy team. Drake loves of nothing.
it's long enough to do.
Please.
There's a lot of quarterback changes going on right now.
Yeah, there is. Do you guys think that Will Levis should be the starter in
Yes.
Tennessee?
100%.
Yes. Unequivocally. What else is there? Tannehill is done. Malik Willis, we've seen how that movie ends. So 4 tutties, they used DeAndre Hopkins. They used him. When you use your weapons, In the National Football League, it's a matchup league. Good things happen. Put it Will Levis.
Yeah, you got to see what you have. They're not going to win the South. They're not going to make the playoffs. Tannehill is a shell of his old self.
Mm.
Honestly, the Vikings probably should have traded for him. But yeah, they need to let Will Levis see what they have in him. He was a second-round pick. They traded up for him.
4 touchdowns. He looked really good.
And 4 tutties look good. Unfortunately, I've been sitting Hopkins because Hill doesn't throw to him. And of course, he goes off.
Always the way.
So there was a 16-game winning streak that was snapped in the NFL. Kansas City somehow loses to Denver. Do you think that, Birn, do you think that loss means anything or what?
I think it means a little for the sole fact that they lost to a team that they should have dismantled. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to mean much. But it does show that Kansas City does have some weaknesses. And they don't have the playmakers that they're used to. They missed Tyreek Hill. That's for sure. I think it exposed Kansas City to the rest of the league that they can be beaten and be beaten by a team that's way lesser talented. But I still think Kansas City is at the tops of the AFC and will make the playoffs. It means a little, not a lot.
Agreed. You play 17 games, you're going to have at least 1 or 2 stinkers. Division rival on the road. It's cold with snow in there. I love what you said, Birn. They're missing a lot of their playmakers. They lead the league in drops, 19 drops from the Chiefs, and they were at least 3 or 4 in that game. So when you eliminate Kelsey, to Birn's point, that's the formula. You shut down the run, and then you wait for the receivers to bat down passes on their own. So good win for Denver. And now it gets really tough. I know we'll talk about the game, but Kansas City hoping to get that one because they got the Fens on what should be a great, I think it's a Sunday. Is that the Sunday night game? I believe so.
Sunday
morning game. Sorry, at 9:30. We got a whole great slate. So the 9:30 breakfast with Fens and Chiefs. What a great way to start.
Excuse me. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but Georgia, Florida, the Jags in general are doing a $2 billion renovation to their stadium, which I wonder they have a swimming pool area as it is right now. Are they going to add like a hot tub around there or something? Like, what are they going to do?
I hope so.
$2 billion.
Can they move the stadium out of that area? That would be what I would spend the money on. Glory. Yeah.
Do people not like the stadium over there? Alltel, formerly known as Alltel?
Yeah.
It's just run down. It needs updates.
Bad.
More than what they really put Band-Aids on it by creating those game day experiences, but the surrounding area is going to be developed. This is long
They need
overdue.
to do that.
It's what are they saying? 2 years, I think, is the idea.
Yeah. So it's going to take 2 years. So they're talking about what they're going to do with the UGA UF series. So my question is, do you think that they should, for those 2 years only, do a home and home?
If the stadium's not ready, I'm for that. I think it would be fun. Both teams are getting better. I think that this game is going to become more and more relevant. Did we get the score we wanted? No, but it really came down to 3 possessions in a row. When you fumble, you get a punt blocked, and then you go for it on 4th down and call a jet sweep throw. You're going to get down really fast, really quick. Not to say the programs are both getting better. Yeah, I'd be all for a home and home. I think it'd be fun. I'd go down to Athens.
Yeah. Yeah,
I agree.
I think they're missing out on something like that. Yeah.
Home makes sense for sure. And change it up a little bit because I don't think you can find a neutral location that's going to be as fitting for both teams.
Right.
I was like, okay, we could go to Camping World down in Orlando, and at the Hall for the Georgia fans.
Yeah, it's not really fair. That'd be more of a home game for Florida.
Yeah. So you might as well make it home and call it a day.
Do you guys think that UCF or Colorado will make a bowl? I'll start with you, Bijan.
Colorado's in trouble. I think that's obvious. It's not really a shocking statement, but they've
4-4.
Yeah.
They've
got 4 games
right
left. So they've got the Beavers, Oregon State Beavers, that's correct. That's at home. Oregon State's tough. They've got Arizona. Arizona's been feisty. That Wildcat team is believing. They got the Washington State Cougars and Beavers in the same 4. This is tough for me, but I think I got them right. And then they end on the road in Utah. They're not winning that game. So they've got to beat Arizona's probably their best chance. They're going to have to beat either Oregon State, either the Cougars or the Beavers to get to bowl. I don't see it happening. I think they end with 5 wins. What a disappointing. I don't know what that locker room will look like. I don't know if the DJ will still be there, or I don't know what will be happening. Like a funeral in there.
So if that happens, if that happens, then the whole party, the prime party, prime day, it gets no momentum in the offseason, don't you think?
I mean, they had 1 win last year, so he's turned the program around. That's how the narrative's gonna be. They're gonna paint that picture.
Better than 1 and 11.
Well, no, but yeah, it's better than 1 and 11. And I don't think Colorado. I don't think either team makes the playoff. I mean,
So
UCF,
UTEP's not going to get it.
no 5 straight losses. They've got the better road or the better map to a bowl game, but
Yeah,
they've got to turn it around. 5 straight
Ooh.
losses. That's
Got to get that
Come on,
bounce
Gus.
house bouncing again. Come on, Malzahn.
they did all included
Right.
in that. They almost beat Oklahoma.
Well, you know,
So-
they don't give them a half a point for that or a half a win. It's a
yeah. You don't.
great effort.
Yeah, I know. They've had some close games though. So they have Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, and Houston. None of those are world beaters. I think they have a chance to be able to make a bowl. They have to win 3 of
Ooh, I
those,
don't like.
believe.
I don't know if that's happening.
Yeah, I
Cincinnati's not
think
good this year.
It's Cincinnati and Houston are probably the wins. That's what I would guess. I think they lose to Oklahoma State, Texas Tech is how I would, if I were to predict their last 4, they go 2-2 and miss it by 1. But
Yeah.
again, they played really well against Oklahoma, but some of those games have been ugly.
I think that it'd be a complete failure for both programs if they don't at least make a bowl. For UCF, they've been hooting and hollering for the past decade to get into this major conference. Give us the SEC. Let's go. And then so they get into the Big 12 and then they're 3-5.
Ooh.
It's okay, maybe we take
They're
it.
the 12th man on the
You know?
bench right now, and that league. Wow. Ooh.
But I think I don't think they've won in the Big 12 yet. Their first 3 wins
Yeah.
were Kent State, Boise State, and Villanova.
Wow.
Right.
Mm.
They're winless. Yeah.
They're winless in the Big 12.
Josh McDaniels
Mm.
fired the Raiders. Oh my God, Jimmy G has looked. Why are you even paying him anything to go out there? He threw for like 64 yards. the other
64
night.
yards.
He was going against one of the greatest
That's
defenses
right.
of all time.
64 yards. I feel like I could
I
throw
like
for
your chances for 64 yards, Hab. I do. I do.
Roll
Especially
out.
with Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
I
just
think
roll
I
out.
think,
Don't.
he had 11
Use
yards
your
or something like that. It
weapons.
was like,
You deserve to
I mean,
be fired. Use your weapons. We were talking about that. Devontae Adams, you've got to almost force it. And Jimmy G had him once or twice. He
Yeah.
couldn't get the ball to him. You've got to use your weapons. I don't give you bubble screens. Line them up in the backfield. If the offensive line is not good, that doesn't help. They're finally able to run at least for 3 yards of carry, but they can't pass protect at all. Lions team, pretty good. But really, that was the nail in the coffin for McDaniels. A mistake from the start, not using your weapons, questionable play calling. You got Marcus Peters. I think he's 48 years old. I mean, when you're relying on him to pick sixes to get your offense going, and good for him, but not a very complete team. And it starts in the trenches.
Yeah. It really goes back to John Gruden because he had that. I feel like they were okay while
Yeah.
Gruden was there, right? In the second stint. Then that whole thing happened, and then that's it for Raider Nations. Are they still having to pay him that $100 million?
I'm sure Mark Davis is still direct depositing that hefty check.
How would you rather not have? Would you rather not have
Wow.
hair or have Mark Davis's hair?
I don't know. That's a really hard question. I have to give it to Philly because I hate that stupid rugby play that they have. But they decided to do a little variation on it. I don't know if you guys saw it. They have the brotherly sweep
Oh.
now. Did you see that?
And Judas.
Yeah.
I missed
So they bunch in. It looks like they're getting ready to do the rugby play. and then they end up doing a turnaround, boom, sweep, jet sweep, boom. You take the outside, and you
Man,
can't stop it. So at this point, they could do that all the way down the field, like switch off which one they're gonna do. Okay, let's get 3 yards here and then sweep it, and then sweep, sweep,
like an
and then
actual
up the middle.
rugby team. It's crazy. It's the legend grows of the brotherly shove.
Yeah. I was happy that they decided to make it
Yeah,
a little bit more
for sure.
exciting
Yeah.
now. Ooh, we get to go to the outside now. We're going backwards, right? It's like 1923
Yes. Leather
football, you
helmets.
know?
Yeah. Great.
It seems like
Polio in
what
the
they're
locker
doing.
room, all those things.
All right, Burn, so I'm gonna start with you on this one. I would like to know if the San Francisco 49ers made a mistake by going all in on Brock Purdy and then taking Sam Darnold as their backup heading into the season.
I don't. I still think he's a really good quarterback. He's a great game manager. He never really got to have that little rookie, hitting that rookie wall. And so I think he's finally finding some struggles, but I, I still have faith in him. I think San Fran still has a pretty, top 15 quarterback, top 10 quarterback. No, I'm not too worried. Obviously, these last 3 games have definitely shown some flaws and exposed them a little bit, but defenses are starting to figure him out. But Shanahan will straighten that out. And I still think Purdy is going to be the answer for San Fran. I'm not too concerned.
I
Bijan,
agree with
same thought?
Birn. It's you mentioned it last week, Hav. The NFL is an adjustment league. Any professional league is a league of adjustment, and the league has made the adjustments. So 2 picks last week for Purdy. He's got 5 over his last 3 games. If there's anyone that can get that right, it's Shanahan with their bye week. And I think they have the Jags after that. And any quarterback loves to see the Jags coming in because their defense very susceptible to the pass. So I think you got to stick with them, especially with that defense. They added Chase Young this week because they needed more defensive line dominance. This thing is going to be like the Vikings of the 70s. Incredible. And they got him for a 3rd round pick. So Purdy needs to go back to managing the game. I think Shanahan will get him back to that point. He's not too far gone. Some timing issues, some quick reads, which you want your quarterback to make a quick read and get the ball out. He does that very well, but he's got to get to his 2nd or 3rd read and read a little bit deeper into the zones.
Yeah, they're gonna be screwed if they have to go to Sam Darnold. That's for sure. If Purdy's their only chance. If I'm a Niners fan, can we let's ring somebody in here and get him live on the show because I'm wondering what they're thinking right now in Niner Nation regarding this whole losing streak that they're on right now and whether or not they actually have confidence in Purdy because I don't know. I I it seems to me like that there's an issue going on right now, and I don't know if they can fix it. If they lose, I don't
The
know who do they play
Jags.
next.
Yeah.
They're not
They
on
get
our don't be nasty.
bye week, and then
Yeah,
they got
bye
the
week
Jags.
next week.
Any quarterback
Bye?
gets right against the Jags pass defense.
Yeah, but the Jaguars have been good though.
They're very good, but I want to
6-2.
throw against that defense because they shut down the run. So Pittsburgh weather was terrible on Sunday. Not that Kenny Pickett made it look any terrible, but yeah, good for the Jags. Love to see him winning, but I want to go against that pass D.
Yeah, I know that it's not don't be nasty for next week yet, but we're throwing that game in there, and I'm already going to be picking the
Jaguars.
Jags.
It'll be interesting to see what that spread is. It being in
Rangers
Jackson.
take the lead.
we
Seager
have the
crosses the plate. There's that man again.
They don't lose on the road.
Oh my goodness. Arizona needs to get on the board, man. What are they doing over there? Before we get to the don't be nasty, I want to talk about something that is probably near and dear maybe to your heart a little bit, Bijan, because you're a former Minnesotian. And so Cousins goes out, he torn Achilles. So he's 35 years old. My question, he's played 12 seasons. They ended up they're going to be starting a rookie from BYU this week. Do you think that, Bijan, I'll start with you. Do you think that Cousins' career
No,
is
and I
done?
hope not. One of the great guys in the game, if you've seen the quarterback documentary on Netflix, highly recommend. A tremendous family guy, a great competitor, takes his craft very seriously. I hate to see injuries anytime, but especially for Cousins, who without Moving on up. Justin Jefferson was still having a really admirable year. Hate to see that. They go to Jaron Hall, maybe Joshua Dobbs. Not great if you're in the great state of Minnesota right now. Oh my, look at this. Oh,
We have a celebrity speaker.
look at that comb down. That looks fantastic.
Jimmy Butler.
Look at you. I'm in awe. Look at that.
Do you like
Bird,
that Jimmy Butler look?
what are your thoughts, Bird?
I agree. I don't think it's gonna be his. I don't think this is his swan song. I think he'll come back. You got you got Aaron Rodgers as well, both vowing to come back. But no, I think Kirk Cousins will come back. But he's a free agent, right? So
Yeah.
that'll be the
Yeah,
interesting.
good point. Good point.
Part. Yeah, will he be rehabbed enough, and do the Vikings take a chance to extend for 1 or 2 years, or let him test the free agency, or wait till he gets healthy? But no, I wish him the best. He is really a great guy, great competitor.
Yeah.
As a Lions fan, it doesn't hurt me that we look really good in that division now, or better than we did before. But yeah, man, you wish him a speedy recovery. Good old Aaron Rodgers, and no, I think he'll be back. I think he's got a couple more
So
good
you're
years.
the Achilles. Ooh.
I get a little bit worried about situations like those types of injuries as at 35 years old. How old was Kobe when he went out on his career? Was that 36, 37? It's certain injuries take you out. So when I saw that headline, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's going to be able to make a comeback. So that the Hall kid, he threw for 3,000 yards in college his senior year, 31 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He was a 5th round pick. See what he's got.
Wow. You got a dangling.
Minnesota can always
Whoa.
get Jameis Winston. Winston will be available probably if they want him.
Be worth a look.
Yes.
Jameis to J Jet. Come on.
All right, and our favorite "Don't Be Nasty" segment. Bird, I think you won last week,
Birn.
right? You had some.
I was on fire. It felt
Yeah.
right. I've got you guys. I had a rough first couple weeks of the season, but I've righted the ship.
Yeah, there was Kansas City killed your parlay there, by the way.
Yes, when money was involved, not so
This is
good.
the way it works. Ever since that Pittsburgh pick, Birn, the Pittsburgh Panthers upset pick, that sparked
telling
it
you.
for you.
Yeah.
And Fuego, Bernie, and Fuego.
And I have felt good ever since.
Yeah. The first game's on the docket here. You got this game's being played in Germany. So you have the Dolphins playing Kansas City. The Chiefs are -2.5. Bijan, you'll go first. Who
This
are
is
you
the first
taking?
time in 3 years that these two teams have met since COVID. And the last one was 33-27 Chiefs. What a wonderful way to start a football Sunday, by the way. What a gift to Germany. You get Chiefs, Dolphins. That's
agree.
what we should send. They've probably seen enough of the Jags, the rest of the world. It's probably time for Chiefs and Dolphins. Great matchup. The Fins
Yeah.
offense. This is like Marino, Clayton, and Duper all over again. Mike McDaniel's got this going on. So first in red zone efficiency, first in passing yards, first in rushing yards, first in yards per play. And I think that's what the difference is going to be. Chiefs defense 19th against the rush. I think that might actually be where if they can run the ball, Miami, it sets up the rest of their game. Chiefs 15th again in the red zone efficiency as a defense. Again, Miami's number 1. And here's the key for Miami is they're getting back for the first time. Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, and Javon Holland will be back on the field in that secondary. You thought Denver was a problem and their secondary? I got to give me the Fins all day. +2.5. I'd take them -2.5. Fins up.
Bijan says all that, but I still say go with the best quarterback. And I think the Chiefs, I think they come back. I think everything points to Miami. And part of me, I think about an hour ago, I probably would have gone with Miami, but I don't know. I think Mahomes finds a way, even though his receivers are probably as good as us. And they complained that they shouldn't be having to travel to Germany, but I think they find a way to pull that one out and win by 3. It's going to be a great game to watch, and it's going to be great even
Yeah.
for a Sunday morning.
It is a toss-up game, a true toss-up game. I think the fact that it's being played in Germany, you don't know it's gonna affect one of the teams. We don't know which team it's gonna affect because we saw it when the Bills traveled
Yeah.
over there, they weren't the same team, and then they haven't been the same team since they've gotten
Mm.
back, really. I'm gonna go with Miami on this one. They're due for a big win. It's gonna be a huge red flag for them as a program if they lose another big game here. They've been able to whip up on the teams that they're supposed to whip up on, but it's time for them to win a game that they need to win, and so I'm taking the Fins to cover, barely, um, and we'll see. Kansas City can still win by 2, and it'll be fine. Um, okay, so next game I have for you here, Birn, Dallas at your second favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles.
My second favorite. Yeah, Dallas looked really good last week. Um, but Philadelphia is the better team. The Cowboys are hit or miss. They play really good. They look like a Super Bowl contender one week and then put up a 0 the next week. I think Philly, with what they did on
Mhm.
defense as well, adding a safety, Bird, however you want to pronounce it. I think that's a big pickup for them. I'm gonna go Eagles. I think Eagles laying the points. Let's do it. Eagles 30,
Ooh,
38 to 20.
I like that. Fly, Eagles, fly. Burn, I'm with you. Fly, Eagles, fly. There you go. So I think that this is Dallas has actually won 4 out of 5 in this series, and including that Christmas Eve thriller last year, 40-34, which is a tremendous gift on the advent of the birth of Christ. 40-34, great ball game for America to watch. I think the key here, Dallas wants to run the ball. Philly is the best rush defense in the NFL. So I think you shut down Pollard and that team puts a lot of pressure on Dak. On the other hand, when Philly can run the ball, do their brotherly shove or their brotherly sweep, they're dangerous. So seventh best rushing team. Dallas's rush defense is only 18th. So I think Philly wins it through the trenches. They boa constrict another win. I don't know if it's 38, but I think it might well be 27-17, something in that realm. Give me the Birds.
Okay, I am gonna make this really simple for you guys here. Dallas is not good, okay? There's no way you would ever find me in a million years sprinkling some cheese on the Dallas Cowboys. They're so inconsistent. You never know
Mm-hmm.
which team is gonna show up. They have talent, yeah, but I would never say that they're gonna go in there and keep this game close guaranteed. So you take Philly -3 on this one. Next game, that's a clean sweep for you guys keeping track at home, and what that means, you can take it to the bank. And so we have Buffalo traveling to get some chili at Cincinnati Bengals, -2. Burn, who you got?
This one's going to be easy. It's the Bengals. We talked about, you brought up Buffalo and the Buccaneers almost beat them. That scares me. And Bengals, talk about a team that started off and everybody was, what's wrong with Cincinnati? How are they ever going to be able to make a comeback? Boy, have they come on strong. They looked fantastic last week. Burrow looks to be as healthy as been all season. They are playing lights out. I think the Bengals put it at the statement game for them, and they show up and pull that one out. So give me the Bengals.
You almost lose to the Bucks. You should be scared anytime. So what a football sandwich we've got. So we start with Chiefs and Dolphins, and we end with Bills and Bengals. NFL, way to get it right on the Sunday night game and the Sunday morning game, and sandwiched in between are some delights. So Cincinnati. Oh,
Finally,
thank
not the
you.
New York
Goodness.
Giants. Or
So Cincinnati's won 3 of 4 in this series, including 2 of 3 in Buffalo. This game, of course, in Cincinnati. Skyline chili everywhere. The last time they played was that 27-10 dominant performance by the Bengals. Yeah,
lots of diarrhea.
unlimited. It gets things moving. I will say this. Everything points to the Bengals, and they're playing better football. Their defensive line play has been great. Burrow has been great. However, I think the Bills, when they're focused, are still one of the best top 5 teams in the league. So give me the Bills. It may not, stats don't point to it. I feel like Josh Allen and the boys are going to be up for this one, wanting to avenge the loss from last year in Buffalo. It's a 2-point spread. Give me, circle the wagons. Give me the Bills.
Cincinnati is red hot right now, and I don't think they're looking back right now. Joe Burrow is better than Josh Allen, and they're playing at home. I think they're going to make another statement game, as Birn said. I'm going with Cincinnati on this one. We're going to have to go to the college ranks here. We have Kansas State.
Yeah.
They are ranked, right? Kansas State's ranked. All of these 3 games are ranked versus ranked matchups. Kansas State at Texas, as we know, they don't have Ewers. Texas is -4.
Give me the
Bijan.
Wildcats on the road, +4. Kansas State's 2 losses are to Missouri, which you're finding out is a very good football team, and Oklahoma State on the road.
Yeah.
Yes, Texas won 35-6 over BYU. That score is a little bit inflated. They had a punt return for 6, and then they got a fumble and a late touchdown. So Malik Murphy didn't do that much. I think Kansas State stuffs the run. I don't know if it's an outright win, but I love 4 points here on the road for Kansas State. Manhattan, the small apple, going to be partying perhaps on Saturday.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree. I think Kansas State can stop the run and make Malik Murphy one-dimensional. I think they're gonna miss Quinn Ewers here at this game, and so I say you're gonna give me 4 points. I'll take it all day. That's what I could take to the bank.
I think that Texas, obviously, as we know, there's only 4 games left in the world of college football. And you have to make your statements where you can make them. And Texas, being a one-loss team, they can't hold back at all in any of these games. I'm going to go with Texas on this one. I think that I like that they're at home. If this game was at Kansas State, I probably would be a little bit more nervous about it. But I think that game 2 with their backup quarterback, he's got the nerves unraveled a little bit. So I think that he's going to feel more confident going into this game. And they're going to be able to figure out a way to win this game by at least a touchdown. So give me Texas Longhorns, and they're going to stay in the CFP discussion after this one. Because if they lose that game, then they're not going to the Big 12 title.
Very much in jeopardy. Very much in jeopardy.
Probably. And I don't even know who's the next
Oklahoma
best
State?
team. Oklahoma State is the next
Oh, well, I
best
guess
team.
they play Oklahoma, so yeah, I don't know.
It could get really interesting. Texas loses that game, the Big 12 might be totally out of the whole picture, actually, after Oklahoma's slide last week. Washington going to USC. We talked about this earlier. Okay, so USC is +4. USC is +4. Birn, who you got?
You may be on mute, Burns.
We're still working on this still learning how to use this technology thing. No, I honestly, both teams have not looked great the last few weeks. Washington eked out a couple wins, but they are the better team. It's gonna be a battle of what we thought were gonna be the Heisman front runners.
You're right.
I think give me Penix.
Oh, I
and
was wondering where
the
you were going
Huskies.
with that.
Yeah. I had to enunciate that one. And you gotta be careful. But no, I think
What did you
Washington
say?
Washington can score in bunches. So give me Washington, not concerned.
Nothing's changed for USC. They refuse to change their approach, and they're not going to get different results. The definition of insanity is continue to do the same thing and expect different results. Another 50-49, 100 points. They happen to have 50. Another team had 49. The other team had 49. Wasn't very good. They're playing a higher class this week. I don't care if it's on the road. Nothing's changed for USC. I think Washington survived some tough games. Give me Washington on the road, -4. This might be another 10 to 13 point win.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys watched the Arizona State game like I did. Arizona State, Washington, that is. And I couldn't have been any more unimpressed with Washington that game. I was like, okay, these guys show up at home against Oregon. That's a huge game, but they can't get up for a game like this. That doesn't really prove to me that they're ready for this stage. They're number 5 in the rankings right now, and I'm thinking it's going to affect them,
Hmm.
to be honest with you. I think that they're going to go into this game thinking, understanding how important it is for them to win. And I think that's where Caleb Williams is finally going to actually take advantage of the situation because USC's out of it. So all Caleb Williams has to do is show up and ball out and just
Huh?
make sure everybody remembers who he is. Give me USC +4, and I think that
Hmm?
USC might even win the game in this specific scenario. Now, I could be saying that because I don't want Washington to jump Florida State, but
No balls there.
I think that might go back to the beginning conversation.
yeah, but we'll see. And then we got
Ooh,
LSU,
ooh,
Bama.
yeah.
You gotta love
Yes.
this matchup right here. Bama's -3 at home. It's basically a coin flip game. LSU obviously has the 2 losses. We'll start with you, Bijan.
Even though they don't have a defense, I feel like I'm gonna go with Daniels and the Bayou Bengals. Give me the Bayou Bengals. So third in passing yards, 14th in rushing yards, second in the country in yards per play. Alabama's defense, 78th against the pass, also 78th against the rush. They're consistently not great, and 68th in yards per play. Yes, I feel like Alabama has improved, but their last 3 wins have been about an average of 7 points. So I think the Bayou Bengals keep this a great rivalry game. Saturday evening, I believe, 7:30.
Yeah.
This is Saturday night SEC showdown.
Yep.
Give me Jaden Daniels and the Bayou Bengals +3. Tight game. I like the Tigers. Tigers.
Yeah, I guess that would be really hypocritical of me if I were to choose LSU in this game since I did talk up Alabama at the beginning. So the fact that I remember that, I'm going to make sure I continue. I think this is where Alabama introduces himself like one more time into the college football playoff discussion and say, hey, look, how's that for a statement win, beating LSU and beating what I would consider the Heisman front runner right now and Daniels. I think Alabama has the talent, as they always do. They've got a guy
Oh,
named Kool-Aid McKinstry that can take down Malik Neighbors. You make LSU one-dimensional and contain Daniels. It's a recipe for a win. But give me Alabama laying the points at home.
Yeah, this is a tough call. I do think that if you're LSU, you have a chance to salvage your season here
that
because
is
they only
correct.
have 1 SEC loss right now. So if they were to actually beat Alabama, then they thrust the division into a 3-way tie with Ole Miss. So then you have to go to tiebreakers, whose coach is what and where bobbity blue, right? Because Ole Miss beat LSU,
Yes, and a great shootout.
right?
Oh,
So it's madness in that division right there if LSU wins this game. And I love chaos. So I'm going to be rooting full bore on this one for LSU. And obviously another FSU bias pick because we need
yeah.
LSU to be as high in the rankings as possible. So
I tell you why you're making your choices.
no, I'm really not, but I actually think that LSU is going to win this. I think they can win this game. I'll take them +3. How many times
Yeah.
does LSU Bama not end up within 3 points?
This weekend.
I think this one is I could easily see this being like a field goal shootout, but maybe it's because we have that like entrenched in our
9-6. Yeah,
memories
this will be a
that
lot more
that's the
high
way that they
scoring. I like
play.
both offenses are humming.
Yeah, we'll have to see. That's a really good game. And then last one is Purdue, Michigan -32. I'm joking. We're not doing that game.
Which one I would pick anyways.
I think
Ooh.
anybody would pick that. -32. Boy, you guys better make sure you get up for this one. Uh, there's not even you might as well start your 3rd string quarterback in this situation. What
No, we're
That's
putting
it.
JJ in, then pad his stats for a little bit. I'm thinking like a
Agreed. Yeah.
49-3
Bernie's nephew
win.
might get in on this. Bernie's
that'll look
nephew back
good.
on the field. Get him in.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's great for the eye test, right?
yeah.
Like, then the committee can be like, "Man, Michigan looked great, last
Just
Saturday
get to the
against
next
Purdue.
game.
Wow, they really passed that eye test."
Speaking of eye
Yeah.
test, I imagine Georgia, Missouri
That's
is on your docket.
No, we
it.
don't have any other games.
Oh,
Do you
Let's
guys
do it.
wanna put Georgia, Missouri on there?
Let's
yeah.
do it.
12-2.
What's the line on that,
No,
14?
it's tighter than that.
That's gotta be up there, right?
I would think so. Yes.
Really?
Is it 15 and a
It's
half right now?
15.5, by the
Jeez.
way.
I know.
I didn't yeah, I didn't really think that I think that Missouri is an okay story, but do you think they're actually gonna be able to
I do.
keep it
I
within
do.
that
I think that the
2 touchdown?
Missouri is a very good football team, I believe. Give me 15 and a half. I would take 15 and a half all day.
Okay. Birn?
Yeah, I actually agree. I think Missouri getting 15.5, I think they can hang with Georgia. I think they can play them well, but Georgia looked really good, but they were playing Florida.
Yeah.
A lot of
Three
teams clearly-
series. Oh my goodness.
No, and in all honesty, I think 15.5. Take those points.
Yeah, since we're throwing it on the board there, Georgia's
Oh.
gonna cover that. I don't think that there is they Vegas knows what they're doing on this situation here. Missouri's fine. You wanna make pretend, you wanna make believe that they're good for a week, sure, fine. Let's get 'em up in the rankings so it'll fluff up UGA's schedule. Um,
I
Georgia's
don't
gonna
know.
wax them.
I don't know. It's not
Wax.
always going to be a cakewalk. And I think this might be the week they may get into some trouble. Brock Bauer is not fully back. I'm telling you, I don't think Missouri makes the mistakes that the Gators make. I think they're similar. I think they hang closer to 15 and a half. Oh, yeah. 14's a win
touchdowns.
in this world. 14-point loss? Yes, please.
Yeah.
Do you think they're gonna be within a
I could see
score
that, or
going into
within
the fourth?
10 going into the fourth. Yeah.
I was
Yeah?
thinking 10.
Okay. Interesting. You guys are liking the
Tigers.
two right now. I never would have thought that. I didn't put that on there. I figured you guys would have been like, "Oh yeah, UGA, blah blah blah." I was wrong. It looks
Here
like
comes
Texas
that
is
man
going to
again.
win the
Corey
World
Seager
Series.
coming
by
to the
way.
plate right here. There's that man again. Oh, yeah. I beat him.
Walk?
Save yourself 4 pitches. Yeah.
You never want to put a
At
runner
this
in
point,
scoring
he's in scoring position
but
right now the way he's batting. Glory. I think
yeah,
we're
but what
oh,
inning is
my.
it? The 8th?
And it's 48.
Yeah, Texas is going to win the World
first,
Series,
first World
guys.
Series title for this franchise. Incredible.
Yeah, I never. As soon as DeGrom went
Give
out,
them
I thought
credit.
their
They
season
hung
was
all
done.
year in a very tough division with a lot, like you said, with a lot of attrition. They made some good pieces, mix up at the trade deadline. Here we are. And who more fitting to perhaps seal it for them? And on the road, of course.
Yeah, and then that's going to go down in infamy right there. The
Yep.
Road Warriors.
Yeah, DeGrom, hometown boy here
Yeah.
in good old D land, and he's gonna get that World
You
Series
can't throw a
ring. looks
fastball
like.
here.
bright
You
and
can't throw a
shiny.
fastball. This has to
Without-
be a slider. Got to be a slider. Yeah. Yeah.
Call the
No-
play.
No one swings at
Take
more
us through
first
what's
pitches
happening.
than Seager. He got
Good
away
job.
with that one. It was a good location right there. Now you go, and I go more off speed. Yeah. He's sitting dead red. Yeah, that was a
Pitch
great
him.
first pitch.
Pitch
Put
him.
it.
Come on.
Yep, nice pitch. That's where you had. Now you go high
you're
heat, but you got to
striking
get
him
it up to
out.
the letters. You got to get letters and outside here. He will chase that.
It's going to be a slider in the dirt. Slider in the dirt.
I'd change the eye
Isn't that
level
what
here
they
and go
always do?
neck high fastball. See if you get lucky. He is set
It's
up
gonna be
well.
a slider in the dirt.
No, what I
Just-
said.
Oh,
That's how you gotta pitch Seager.
Fastball
Now you go
outside.
back to the breaking ball, but you can't miss.
See, this is the what makes baseball exciting is that there's not
Yes.
50 minutes in between the
Pitch
pitch.
clock was
Like
a
we
win.
can actually watch
Ooh.
what's happening. And
I
laying off of
He
it
doubled up on the
there.
fastball.
Look at
That is
that.
risque, but he put it in a good spot. So Deuce is wild here. This is good.
And we have Corey Seager. He's 31
Ooh.
years old.
He's locked in right now.
He's
Yeah, some good eyes.
No, that's
is
where
he
you have
trying
to
to
pitch
pitch
him. He
around
just
him?
spit on it. That's not a bad pitch. He's seeing it so well.
You got to come to
Yeah,
him now.
that's-
Let's go.
Oh, Corey Seager.
Pitching
Yeah.
around him. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
What a great,
Yes.
he deserves it. They had some great contributions from throughout that lineup, but it's got to go to Seager.
Bijan, is there anything you want to say to the connoisseur?
It's great to be back. I appreciate the rest period, day of rest last week. Load management. I was actually also, no, it's good to be back. It's great. I missed you last week. I thought you guys did a great job. It may have been our best program ever because I wasn't on it. You guys killed it. Great. How about this kid, Evan Carter here? Huh? Got the rookie.
Birn.
This kid.
Birn, what do you have to say to the connoisseurs?
No, look, I want you guys to know that I'm very thankful for last week not having Bijan as the middleman that could take things down, calm things down. And Hav didn't even mention the Michigan scandal.
Yeah, wow.
Like once. We didn't even go into it.
Oh, yeah. It would have got
I thought
hot.
it was gonna be
Yeah.
heated.
Ooh.
I thought we were going to get heated. But I think the connoisseurs probably would have liked it. But don't worry. Over time, those are going to happen, especially
Oh,
at these college football playoffs and these rankings. But no, I'm excited about next week. And I mean, I love the fact that the sports world is getting better and better as these weeks go on because we're getting
yeah,
into those more important months. And so
for sure.
there'll be some exciting episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so if you guys do actually enjoy listening to us and now seeing our disgusting faces every week, I really hope that you can take that 3 seconds. I know it's annoying to do. Like I'm one of those people. To hit that little subscribe button on YouTube. That would really help us out if you did that. 3 seconds. Beep. And we would really appreciate if you did that. I don't even think that Bijan and Bernie have done it yet. So don't feel bad if you haven't done it yet. So there's still time. So
And if there's a listener there that can send me step-by-steps on how to do it.
yeah, that's the step-by-step. Boop. And then you're subscribed. And we'll see you guys next week. Go Noles, baby.